Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you. When judgment comes for you. Tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you. 'Cause it's gonna come for you.
Nigga, this for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo, but God's got him. And I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling flows like I ain't looked at a while. Like I'm playing for dust and they play too deep for beachside. Little legs I got too deep. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand way. You can't go follow
God bless you, working on a plan to hit.
Back on Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on January the 26th to Collision on January the 31st, as well as the Royal Rumble PLE that happened on Saturday. We're going to start Raw with AJ Styles coming out to welcome us to Monday Night Raw. He says there's a man backstage who says that this is the last time you're going to see him on Monday Night Raw, and his name is Gunther. That isn't how Styles sees it going, though, because while this is going to be the year that he retires, there is a lot he still wants to do. He wants to wrestle some people one more time, and he even wants to be world champion one more time. Gunther might be good, but he isn't phenomenal. We then have CM Punk come out to interrupt him kind of randomly. Punk talks about how they've known each other for 20 years plus and have been everywhere from friends to rivals. And now they have nothing but respect between the two of them. Punk isn't sure about Styles putting everything on the line in WWE coming up at the Royal Rumble, which Styles thinks Punk doesn't think he can win. It's not what Punk meant, but it's a huge gamble, and if it goes badly, they can never face each other again in a WWE ring. Styles knows Punk isn't trying to be disrespectful, but that's what it feels like he's saying, especially since Styles knows he can beat Punk himself. Punk then throws down the challenge for tonight, or actually, I think AJ challenges Punk first, but then Punk thinks about it, says they'll face him for sure, but he wants to do it for the World Heavyweight Championship. So we're going to have a World Heavyweight title match between Punk and Styles as our main event later tonight. We then go to a Saturday night's main event recap that had obviously happened the past Saturday. We then have a big 6-woman tag team match to open proceedings in the ring. Stephanie Vaquer, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky defeat the Judgment Day girls when Rhea hits Riptide on Roxy. We then look back at Finn Balor versus CM Punk from last week in Belfast. Balor comes up to Punk in the backstage area, says Punk was part of the most memorable night of his career, obviously getting to perform in front of his hometown fans in a big match. He thanks Punk for last week, but Punk says it takes two to tango, and he couldn't have done it without him. Punk isn't the best in the world unless he beats the best in the world, and there aren't many people left like him and Finn Balor in WWE. Balor should think about what he wants his legacy to be. If he wants to be champion again, maybe he should ditch the Judgment Day, because hanging around with people like Dominic Mysterio isn't helping Finn's career. If Finn wants another shot, win the Rumble, and then come see him in Vegas, which is kind of funny because Finn doesn't end up even being in the Rumble. We'll talk about Finn at the end of the show, but and then Balor seems to ponder the idea that maybe leaving Judgment Day is the right answer to get him to kind of further himself in his career. We then have the Vision come to the ring to cut a promo. They're showered with booze, obviously. Paul Heyman says that they're here to boost the star power on the show, even in this second-class city. Heyman introduces everybody on the team going one by one, and we talk about some of the issues they've had with the people, and especially Adam Pearce as of late. Adam Pearce comes out. Heyman asks the crowd to boo at Pearce and flip him off instead of doing the same to the Vision and him. Pearce apologizes and tells Braun Breaker his suspension is officially lifted and he has a spot in the Royal Rumble match. Heyman still seems like he's not too happy with that, and Pearce asks what else does he need. Heyman offers a handshake, and Pearce praises him before putting the rest of the Vision in the Rumble as well, so all members of the Vision will be in the Rumble. He says, as for tonight, Austin Theory, he might not have won last week, and he might not have won last week, and he might not have lost if the brass knuckles hadn't been involved. So he's going to offer an olive branch and give him Rey Mysterio, which is the person that knocked him out with the brass knuckles last week. So Austin Theory versus Rey Mysterio is next. Austin Theory defeats Rey Mysterio via pinfall when the other luchadors come out to battle with the rest of the division around ringside area. That distracts Rey long enough for Theory to hit the stomp and get the win. After the match, the Division continue to beat down the luchadors, and Penta is eventually laid out with a big super spear from Braun. We then go to Natalya in a little package explaining why she obviously broke things off with Maxine Dupree, kind of puts across her new gimmick. She's not going to be Natalya anymore. She's going to be Natty. She's been kind of doing this thing over the last year or so, kind of in these little indie spots where they'll throw her. She's been in NWA. She's done, I know she's done Bloodsport at least once, if not a couple of times. She's kind of called the low-key legend. She's Natty. She's not Natalya. So they're trying to give her a fresh paint of coat, as one Bruce Pritchard would say. They're trying to get over a new character for her. Obviously, if you've listened to any pod that I've done throughout the years, not a huge Natalya fan. Don't really want them to waste any big spot or big opportunity on her at this point. I think I just don't think she's very good. I think she's highly overrated in the grand scheme of things. But again, basically just talks about why she broke things off with Maxine Dupree. And she kind of, at the end, kind of implies that she wants Becky Lynch's Intercontinental Championship. We then go to Raquel Rodriguez. She is screaming for Stephanie Vaquer in the backstage area, but Bayley and Lyra Valkyria get annoyed at her being so loud, and then Vaquer comes in and jumps Raquel out of nowhere. She kind of just pops up and starts beating her up, and they kind of have to be separated by agents and security. We go to earlier today, and we have Michael Cole with a sit-down interview with Gunther, who says there is nothing for him to gain with just beating Styles again. That's why he asked for the career to be on the line. Obviously, now he has something to gain, and it's another career ended at his hands. Styles wanted one more moment, but now the moment he is going to give the fans is seeing him give up in his final match. He is getting rid of all these old-timers, and then he starts to ask Cole how long he plans to keep chasing one more moment, implying that maybe he'll take him out as well. Gunther says he could end Cole right now, but he wants Cole to be there to announce the end of AJ Styles' career. We then get video of CM Punk versus AJ Styles for later, just kind of a hype package for that for our main event. We go to Adam Pearce. He is happy about a phone call he just got when Finn Balor comes in to declare that he will be in the Royal Rumble. Pearce says that the Royal Rumble is full, but Balor says this isn't over. He wants to kind of have a little more of this conversation later. Balor then kind of stomps away in a fuss. He runs into Liv Morgan, who wants to know what was up with him and CM Punk's conversation earlier. She says last week Punk treated Balor like he was a participation trophy, and the Judgment Day is his real family. Balor says it's not that straightforward, and obviously he has some thinking to do. We then get a number one contender fatal four-way for the World Tag Team Championships. The Alpha Academy defeat Los Americanos, American Made, and the New Day when Tozawa ends up hitting a top rope senton splash on Julius Creed for the win. I have a lot of thoughts about that match, but the tag division continues to be just one of the things that is the most upsetting about WWE booking. They have two sets of tag titles, and they don't particularly do much with them. They're better with the SmackDown ones, but the Raw ones continuously fall under the radar. Don't get a ton of shine or anything like that. And when you have a comedy team like the Alpha Academy going after the Usos, it's not too much. You have a great team in American Made right there, the Creed brothers. They could be a lot. I mean, Los Americanos, again, are kind of a comedy duo, but Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne are two of the best out there. So you could do something with them. You could run back New Day versus Usos. I just feel like Alpha Academy out of the three, probably the worst option, and that's who they went with. So I think post-Mania, maybe they need to do a pretty big shakeup of the tag team division, because there's a lot of good teams on SmackDown that aren't getting used because they're deciding to go with the MFTs and the Wyatt Six, who are the worst two teams on that side. And I think they just need to shake up the divisions, kind of spread the wealth a little bit more, and maybe focus a little bit more on the tag team division, because it is highly lacking, especially on Raw. And they're just not pushing the teams that I think that they should probably have out there being good and doing well. So we then go to Becky Lynch in the back. She's mocking Jackie Redmond, who's interviewing her. She's wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jacket, so she kind of makes fun of that. She talks about Natalya attacking Maxine last week. She said the same thing happened to her with loser Lyra earlier last year. But now Becky says she is in the Royal Rumble match and she is going to win it. The Kabuki Warriors then come in and say that they're in the Rumble as well. Becky basically blames Asuka for losing the match at War Games where they team together. And Asuka gets pissed, obviously, and says they'll see each other in the Rumble match. We then go to Javon Evans. He comes up to AJ Styles, says he'd love to see him on the retirement tour, obviously face him down the line. Styles likes the idea of facing Evans, even though Evans doesn't seem so sure that that match will happen in the future. We then get Stephanie Vaquer requesting a fight with Raquel Rodriguez next Monday on Raw. So Adam Pearce makes a Philadelphia street fight for next week in Philly. We then get to the go to the Vision's locker room. They're planning for the Royal Rumble, and they talk about how each and every one of them should have focus, and the focus is to make sure that Braun Breaker is the one that ends up winning in the end. We finally get a kind of a change of pace with the Oba Femi package for once. This one declares him for the Royal Rumble, so obviously it's been kind of obvious that he's going to show up there, and that's going to be kind of his first thing that he's going to do. But it is official that Oba Femi will be in the Royal Rumble as of this Monday Night Raw. So, and then we will go to our main event where CM Punk defeats AJ Styles, but it's via DQ when Finn Balor comes out and starts attacking Punk. So obviously he thought about it and thought that the Judgment Day family would be a little better. Balor then beats Punk up with some running drop kicks against the barricade on the outside, and then he hits 3 coup de grace in the ring to end the show. He hits the coup de grace right to Punk's ribs on like the second one, I think, and it looked like a pretty brutal spot. So a lot of setup for the Royal Rumble here on this show. I thought the women's 6-woman tag was very good, but AJ's been on kind of a roll lately, so despite the fact that his match kind of ended in a non-finish, Punk and Styles was still my favorite match from Monday Night Raw. So that would be the best match for me. We're going to go from there to NXT. The show is supposed to start with a qualification match for next week's ladder match between Joe Hendry and Jackson Drake. We cut to the back, and Joe Hendry is laid out with the Vanity Project standing seemingly above him. Jackson Drake is holding a chair. When Ava kind of confronts them, they claim that they were not responsible. That looks very clear like they were. She says she needs to meet with Tony D'Angelo right now, and we'll rearrange the card for tonight, and we'll see if we can get the match to go on later if Joe Hendry is cleared. We then get a tag team title match to start the show in the ring. The Dark State of Osiris Griffin and Saquon Sugars defeats OTM when the Vanity Project again comes out and distracts Lucian Price long enough for Griffin to sneak up and steal the victory with a roll-up. After the match, a tag team division wide brawl happens. The Culling come out. Chase U comes out. The Culling actually ends up standing tall over Dark State in the ring. So pretty much every tag team in the division comes out. Hank and Tank is out there as well. So pretty much setting up that we're headed for a bunch of tag teams battling to kind of take down Dark State. We then go to Nikita Lyons. She agrees to face Jada Parker tonight, so Blake Monroe doesn't have to, and kind of just says she can be a friend if Blake wants one and needs one. Jada Parker is able to defeat Nikita Lyons, though, via pinfall following an abdominal stretch slam. After the match, Blake Monroe pops up and says she will see Jada Parker very, very soon. We then go to Tavion Heights. He gives Eli Knight and Elio LaFleur a pep talk after their tough losses last week, obviously. Ariana Grace, Stax, and Lexis King that interrupt. They say they don't think much of Heights in a match between Lexus King and Tavion Heights is seemingly made for later because um, Lexus King had attacked him the previous week after he lost his speed title match, I should say. We then get the Elegance brand from TNA popping up. They obviously have a match coming up with Sol Ruca and Zarya. They kind of just trash talk them, saying that they're the Elegance brand and nobody can live up to their greatness and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of introducing the NXT crowd to them. I think that match is supposed to happen on the February 3rd episode. They're kind of hyping that one up to be a big one because it obviously has the big ladder match for the NXT title. So I think they're trying to make that one as big a show as they can. So the Elegance brand will be back next Tuesday. We then cut to Zarya. She isn't happy with Sol Ruca not being there and not answering her phone calls. Thea comes in. They argue about Thea being handled title shots, and Zarya just kind of gets mad. She's obviously frustrated with her partner, and then Thea is just kind of the person that takes the brunt of it. But a match is made for later between the two of them. Ethan Page then runs into Miles Bourne. He wants to see him be more ruthless tonight instead of being righteous. Bourne says for Ethan Page to mind his own business. Ricky Saints then comes in as well, and Miles Bourne says that he can shut his mouth too. We then go to the Vanity Project. They come to see Ava. She says she can't prove that they attacked Joe Hendry earlier. Ava says she can't, or Ava says she can't or she doesn't seem to think that she can put the match on later. And there is a spot in the match for the ladder match next week, and Jackson Drake will be in. But if Hendry is medically cleared, he will also be in the match. So it's supposed to have been 6 people. Seemingly, if Joe Hendry is able to compete, it will be 7. We then get Dion Lennox qualifying for the ladder match, defeating Miles Bourne. Ethan Page comes out to seemingly try to help Bourne, hands him the North American Championship to use, even distracts the ref for a little bit. But it ends up kind of costing Bourne because Bourne kind of hesitates a little too long. The ref takes the belt away from him, and Lennox finishes thing with it kind of looked like a Michinoku driver. I don't really know what you want to call it, but that would be the closest move I could kind of compare it to. And then after the match, Ethan Page gets in Bourne's face, tells him he has to be better, and obviously Miles drops him and leaves him laying. We then go to Tony D'Angelo. He goes to Ava's office where Ricky Saints is already talking to her and warns her about how dangerous Keanu Carver is. Saints then leaves, and Tony D'Angelo asks why Ava bailed him out of jail. Apparently, NXT needs Tony D'Angelo. According to her, she wants to know whether he's in or out. He says next week he will make his intentions clear, but he's not the same Tony D that we once knew. Ava warns him not to interfere in next week's ladder match, and he doesn't really say whether he won't or not, but he does just kind of walk away in silence. He doesn't have the thick Italian accent anymore. He seems to be talking in what I was assumed to be his normal voice. So I don't know if we'll get a name change as well, a complete character revamp or what, but he seems to be a very different character than before. So we'll see if we get a name change or anything like that. But interested to see what he says next week on Tuesday. So we then get Andre Chase. He is not happy with Chase U getting involved in that big tag team brawl earlier, but now he has to get ready for his qualifying match for the next week's ladder match. Lexus King comes in and asks Uriah Connors if his father is proud of him. Obviously, his father being Fit Finlay. Lexus King then says he knows his father would be proud of him, and then he rides his throne into the arena for his match next. So it seems like, I think we'll talk. Lexus King will talk to somebody else later, but it seems like they're trying to get this thing going with Lexus King, where he's building like a faction of Nepo babies and like trying to recruit other people who have fathers that were in the wrestling business. So like I said, obviously Uriah Connor's dad is Fit Finlay. So we'll see if that ends up coming to pass. But Lexus King then defeats Tavion Heights via pinfall following the coronation. After the match, Lexus King poses with Stax and Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace seemingly is in this group. Obviously, her father is Santino. Stax doesn't have that nepotism kind of situation going, but he's kind of closely associated with Ariana Grace. Obviously, they're engaged. I don't know if they're either engaged or married, one of the two, but um, obviously that's his tie into the group. Um, but Lexus, as he's kind of walking away from this, says this is just the beginning. And then we get a new special feature. They're starting to call it NXT Origins, and they kind of look back at Finn Balor's time in NXT and all the things that he accomplished. So they'll probably start cutting these in and kind of showing some of the future or some of the past greats from NXT uh, every now and then, just to kind of cut it in. We then get Thea Hale defeating Zarya when Ezzy Dame, who was on commentary, gets attacked by Tatum Paxley. Zarya is distracted long enough by this, and Hale sneaks up and gets a roll-up victory. After the match, Fatal Influence comes out, gets to about ringside, and Hale seems to think that her and Zarya are going to team up, but Zarya instead hits Hale with the F5. We then go to Charlie Dempsey. He was impressed last week by Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray, except for the fact that they did not come away with the victory. Gray seems very distracted by not being the NXT Women's Champion because she obviously came pretty close with JC Jane. We then have Stax, Ariana Grace, and Alexis King come in and say that they want to talk to Charlie by himself, and says that Charlie is one of them, and Charlie doesn't seem to understand. We cut away, and they're still kind of talking with each other. So obviously, I think, again, Charlie Dempsey, William Regal's son, so seemingly trying to put some kind of group together with some nepotism involved. We then go to Keanu Carver defeating Andre Chase, completely squashes him. He wins the match via pinfall with a spinning power slam. After the match, Carver completely wrecks Andre Chase some more, and he even stomps Chase's injured face. He actually Andre Chase had like a one of those like face mask on because he obviously had some nose damage, but I think he quote unquote breaks Andre Chase's jaw here because he kind of steps on his mouth into the steps. So really putting over Keanu as a killer. To kind of start off with, and he really just takes out Mr. Chase here pretty badly. We kind of cut away, come back. Keanu Carver grabs the mic, says if anyone has a problem with him wrecking everyone, come and do something about it. We cut to the back, and Shiloh Hill and Deion Lennox are seemingly headed to the ring. We go to commercial. We come back. Jackson Drakes, Deion Lennox, Shiloh Hill, Sean Legacy, and Keanu Carver are all in the ring, all involved in next week's ladder match. Shiloh Hill saying that what he just saw Keanu do to Andre Chase just fires him up, hearing bones crunch, and obviously seeing the destruction that happened. Lennox doesn't want to hear any kind of trash talk because Dark State knows how to take things and take things over. Sean Legacy pipes up and says this is the biggest opportunity of his life, and he'll take chances, which is why Jackson Drake thinks Legacy will choke because every time he's faced Jackson Drake, he's choked. Ricky Saints then comes out. He climbs before he climbs up the ladder that's in the entranceway before addressing anyone. He is the Rose who has come from the concrete jungle that is NXT. But Carver is sick of all the talking, and a big brawl is on. Joe Hendry eventually comes out and joins the fight, but he ends up eating a spinning power slam from Carver to end the show. So Joe Hendry seemingly good to go. Will be in the match next week, but Carver ends up standing tall once again. I like how they've been presenting Carver so far as kind of a killer. He's going to come across for a while, probably as Obafemi light, just because obviously they're both African American. They're both very big, imposing individuals. Obviously, Oba just left, so I'm gonna understand for a while that maybe that's the that's the comparison that a lot of people are going to make. But you got to let the guy, no pun intended, carve out his own path. But he's been impressive so far. So we'll see if he kind of shines in this ladder match. I don't see him winning just because I think that would be a little too much too quickly. Because obviously he would have already been on the NXT roster if they thought he was ready to be world champion. I think obviously Ricky Saints is the pretty heavy favorite going into this because this is a lot of Evolve guys. It's even an LFG guy. So uh, I would say Hendry and Saints are pretty heavy favorites out of the seven guys, but they could go crazy and get put it on somebody new. It wouldn't be the worst thing, um, but we'll see. As far as best match on NXT, though, not their best in-ring week, I would say. A couple of squashes, a couple of kind of weird finishes and stuff like that. But I would go with Thea Hale and Zarya. The tag team match from earlier in the show would probably be second for me, but Thea versus Zarya would probably get match of the night for me on NXT. So we'll then move into Dynamite. We have Kenny Omega opening the show, defeating Rocky Romero via pinfall with the one-winged angel. After the match, Tony Schiavone comes in to announce that Omega is one of the 4 top contenders to the world title. Omega says he hasn't felt this good in years, and he'll beat anyone in his way to get back to the world championship. Hangman Page comes in to say that he'd rather be fighting beside Omega rather than against him, but he made the mistake of looking ahead. Hangman Page is going to be the next champion, which brings out Swerve Strickland to say that he's here for the world title. He hasn't been pinned since he came back, and it doesn't matter who he has to beat to get the title back. He will do so. Omega says it sounds like Swerve is looking for a fight, which Swerve says is truer than Omega could ever possibly know. Don Callison comes out and says that Swerve's undefeated streak ends tonight when he goes against Andrade El Idolo. Then Andrade is coming for Omega because the Don Callis family runs this show. Omega then says Callis is the one who should worry, and then kind of chases him away. We then get video of our women's world title match tonight between Tekla and Chris Statlander, so that'll happen a little bit later. We go to Jon Moxley defeating Ace Austin via pinfall following the Death Rider. After the match, Konosuke Takeshita comes out to stare down with Moxley. Davis and Doyle then run in from behind, and Moxley gets taken out. So the Don Callis family stands tall at the end of that segment. But obviously Takeshita and Moxley are on a collision course, which we'll see when they eventually face off. We then get Mark Briscoe retaining his TNT championship against El Clone via pinfall with a surprise roll-up. After the match, Briscoe says he has an open challenge for Collision, but he's tired of the Don Callis family, so no one from that family will answer his open challenge. He won't take their challenge or anything like that. The lights then go out. We hear a beating heart, and it eventually pops up on the screen. And Tommaso Ciampa, recently leaving WWE, pops up here in AEW, gets a pretty big ovation. We get a stare down between Mark Briscoe and Tommaso, and they will face each other on Collision for the TNT Championship. And Tommaso even gives him a kind of little cheeky kiss on the cheek before the segment ends. We then go to the back, and Kyle Fletcher and Okada are having a meeting. Okada says he wasn't thinking when he took the screwdriver at World's End, obviously, that Fletcher had planned for himself. It was just about winning, and he did what he had to do, and he wasn't trying to prevent Fletcher from winning his match either. Fletcher seems to accept this apology, and they shake hands and make peace for now. We then go to MJF. He comes out to cut a promo. He asks Taz why they are working in a dump like this tonight. He then gets cut off by Brody King. He says for some reason MJF calls him dumb and stupid before King needs to win something to get his title shot. So obviously MJF's just trying to dig at him. He calls him a moron, obviously, and says he actually needs to beat somebody with some credibility before he could go for the world championship. MJF accuses King of following people around, such as Malachi Black with their spooky light tricks, or Buddy Matthews with his scary name and his bad ankle. Maybe King should have followed MJF from the beginning, who can use a big scary man, even if MJF has, quote, never in my life have I met a liberal man who looks more like a Nazi, unquote. So just wow. What a burn there. He says the reality is that to be world champion, you need to be a leader rather than a follower. And but he needs to beat someone before he can get a world championship match against MJF. Brody King agrees, which is why he has gotten an eliminator match next week against MJF. So he wants to beat MJF to even get a shot at his world title. So he says if he wins next week, he gets the title shot at Grand Slam Australia, which will happen pretty soon. We then get a video on the Young Bucks issues as of late. Obviously, they're kind of face turn and all that kind of stuff, and it says they will return next week. I don't think they've been gone that long, but obviously they were not there this week, so they will return next week. We then get Chris Statlander defeating Tekla via pinfall following the Saturday Night Fever. After the match, the Babes of Wrath come out to celebrate, and Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford come out to have a stare down because they want the Babes of Wrath tag team titles. Don Callis then wants the family to bring him some gold. However, he does want Konosuke Takeshita to apologize to Kazuchika Okada. With Callis gone, Takeshita is not pleased with Fletcher for giving Okada and walks away, leaving Fletcher worried about the cohesiveness of the Don Callis family. We then get video of the rivalry between Jack Perry and Ricochet so far. Earlier today, the Demand had beat up Jack Perry with Ricochet trying to interview Perry while he is getting his ass kicked. So obviously he's asking him questions and he kind of answers them himself. We then get FTR defeating Davis and Doyle when they hit the Shatter Machine on Mark Davis. I can't remember exactly what the injury is, but Jake Doyle, recently joining AEW, immediately gets injured in this match. He is going to be out for like 6 to 8 months, I believe is what I saw. So Davis and Doyle seemed like a pretty good bruiser tag team that they had kind of added to the tag team division, but obviously Doyle will be out for a considerable part of the future. We then go to Orange Cassidy. He talks about dealing with Wheeler Yuta for 5 years now, and even mocks Yuta's stupid hair and beard. Yuta then comes in with Marina Shafir and gets in Orange's face, but Tony Storm comes in to kind of even things out. They seem to kind of set up a mixed tag. They don't confirm exactly when it will be, but we'll talk about that later in the week. But eventually Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm kind of tango away from the scene after they kind of stand up to the members of the Death Riders here. We then go to our main event where Andrade El Idolo defeats Swerve Strickland via pinfall when he hits a low blow and then follows it with the DM. We then cut to the back and MJF is ready for Brody King next week, but Kenny Omega comes up to say it's just one more win for him and they'll see each other at Revolution. So with Andre El Idolo winning, all Kenny Omega has to do to get to MJF is to beat Andrade. I don't remember if it was next week or the week after, but he has to beat him in the future to get to the world title match. MJF then walks away from Kenny. He runs into Andrade, who obviously wants the title as well, says he's only one match away as well. MJF then walks away from him. He runs into Hangman Page, who is waiting inside of his car that was going to drive him away. Page gets out, opens the door or he gets out and kind of holds the door open for Max. Max gets in the car, and then they drive away pretty speedily. So we seemingly have at least 3 guys that are coming for MJF. I don't know. They kind of make it seem like whoever wins the Andrade Kenny match is the number 1 contender, but I guess Page may get a title shot between here and there. I don't know, but Page seems to be involved, but he's not in he doesn't seem to be in the qualifier kind of little tournament they've set up. So we'll see where they go from there. Swerve and Andrade was absolutely the best match of the show, probably the best match of the week, if I'm being perfectly honest. They gave him a bunch of time, and those 2 guys are really good when they're motivated, especially Andrade. Swerve's usually really good even when he's probably not motivated, but Andrade definitely needs to be in there with the right guy. He's definitely better if he's winning. He's kind of like Mercedes Moné, kind of gets the boo-boo face if he knows he's not going over. So, but he went over here, and he did a really fantastic job. So, we then go to Impact from there. We get the new version of the system coming out. Brian Myers says what happened last week had to be done. Eddie Edwards says he's going to break it all down for you. Moose used to be the most dominant star in wrestling, but he has become just a selfish man at this point. All he cared about was himself rather than the system. Then you have JDC, who walked away from the team, and then obviously he retired, so it made it feel like he quit on the team and not just the company itself. Alicia Edwards comes out pissed still. She wasn't let in on the plan. She gets in her husband Eddie Edwards' face and says he kept this from her. He knows her contract is coming up, and she says maybe she doesn't want to be part of the system anymore. And then she walks away, and Eddie is not too happy with how this segment went. We then go to BDE. He is facing Nick Nemeth tonight. He's ready to prove that he belongs here in Impact. He's not just a YouTuber. He's not just a streamer. He's a professional wrestler, and he can hang in there with the best, which he considers Nick Nemeth to be that. Nick Nemeth does beat him, but it was a solid match. He wins via pinfall when BDE goes for like a springboard move off the ropes, and Nick Nemeth kind of catches him in midair and hits the danger zone. After the match, Nemeth comes out to celebrate with, or Ryan Nemeth, I should say, comes out to celebrate with brother Nick. Nick kind of passes him in the entranceway, and Ryan goes to the ring. He calls out Mara Sade, who he says has been assaulting him over the last few months unnecessarily. Sade then comes out, says Ryan got away with a victory at Genesis, but he cheated. He then doesn't like how he's kind of talking to her, but offers that she can kiss him for this, and they can, kiss and make up and all that kind of stuff. She then goes for a super kick, but he actually blocks it, and then he actually pretty much nails her with a hard clothesline after that, and kind of lays her out. So this intergender feud doesn't seem to want to end. So we'll see if they have another match down the line, or if this kind of is the way to write it off. We then go to the Elegance brand. They give Ash by Elegance presents because she is officially medically cleared. Lei Ying Lee comes in to say that she'll defend her title anytime against Ash by Elegance, since obviously Ash had to give it up and never lost it. Indy Hartwell and Zaya Brookside come in, and they seemingly set up a 6-woman tag between the Elegance brand and the three of them. Mr. Elegance then tries to hit on Indy Hartwell. She eventually just takes some champagne and says this isn't her kind of party, and leaves with a couple of bottles of champagne. We then get Stax defeating the Hometown Man when he pokes the Hometown Man in the eyes and finishes things off with a surprise roll-up. We go to commercial and come back, and Stax is in Ariana Grace's face, implying that he didn't help him in the match and doesn't understand why. Santino then shows up and says Ariana Grace threatens both of them, and she says don't she may have made a mistake trusting either one of them. So just some more kind of tension between the three of them. She seems more mad at Stax in this situation than her dad, but obviously there's a lot of tension going on in those two relationships. So we'll see where they kind of go with that one. It's been real muddled. She kind of broke it off with Santino. Now she's back with him. So I don't really know where they're going with it, but I think it might just be a kind of a ploy. We'll see going forward. But they're being presented on, obviously Stax is the international champion. So as long as he has that, he'll be on TNA, I feel like. But this is one of those things that may need to end, and Stax just kind of be exclusive to NXT and not continue to play this little mid-card BS kind of stupid storyline that they have going on. We then go to Elijah. He defeats Jason Hotch via pinfall following the Highwayman's farewell. After the match, Order 4 jumps Elijah with Ali eventually grabbing Elijah's guitar. Before he can swing it at Elijah, though, Elijah's able to fight all the rest of Order 4 off, grab his guitar, and kind of clear the ring before he can crush anybody with it. We then go to commercial break again. We come to the back, and Jada Stone is rather excited to be part of TNA. Order 4 comes in to yell at her. Tasha Steelz even slaps her, knocks her to the floor, and Elijah eventually runs in, kind of runs them off, and picks Jada up and tells her that he's happy she's here as well. We then go to Elena Black's debut. She defeats Ruthie J via pinfall following a swinging double underhook neckbreaker. We then go to the Hardys. They're happy with how things are going, being tag team champions and all, but the Righteous come in to talk about their Genesis match. They want to continue to be friends with the Hardys and kind of tease an alliance a little bit, but obviously I think this is going to end with Righteous probably end up taking the tag team titles from the Hardys, but we'll see how that happens down the line. We then go to the Feast or Fired reveals. We had the Feast or Fired match last week. Trey Miguel is up first, and he gets an international title shot, so he'll face Stax down the line somewhere. Eddie Edwards is second. He gets the world title shot. That leaves Steve Macklin and Eric Young. Steve Macklin opens his case third, and he is fired, and which means Eric Young will be getting an X Division title shot. So Steve Macklin, a big part of the TNA roster at this point. I haven't heard anything about his contract running up. Obviously, with TNA, they don't have very long contracts in the first place. So maybe his is running up here pretty soon, and he's going to go to AEW, maybe try it again in WWE. But this could all be a storyline. It might not be. I'm not sure. But that's a pretty, I won't say he's like a huge star in the grand scheme of wrestling, but for TNA, he's a pretty big star for them. So if they lose him here, and he obviously, if his contract came up or something like that, then obviously that's a big loss for TNA, especially just getting on the television deal. But hopefully it's just kind of a storyline. They'll kind of work around it. Maybe they'll do like the whole hometown man thing with Macklin, and he'll come back in a mask or something. But he's a guy that they probably need around to kind of continue to build this company, as obviously they have this new TV deal. But we'll see what happens with Macklin in the future. I would obviously envision maybe him ending up in AEW, because obviously his wife, Deonna Purrazzo, is a big deal in Ring of Honor with AEW. So we'll see. But Macklin seemingly is fired. They cut to commentary after that. Hannafin. I can't think of his first name right now for some reason. But Tom Hannafin, the commentator, him and Matthew Raywalt kind of talk about Steve Macklin, how much he means to both of them. But Hannafin gets really upset and talks about how Steve is one of his best friends, and he is heartbroken to see that he is gone. And then after the Feast or Fired reveals, we also get Eddie Edwards and the System coming up to Mike Santana, saying that he can cash this contract in at any time. And Santana says, bring it whenever you want to, and kind of glares at them till they leave. And then we get our main event match. Rich Swann defeats AJ Francis in a no-holds-barred match when he beats him down with a chair and eventually hits a frog splash for the win. So big win for Rich. Kind of blows off that AJ Francis feud since they've been fighting ever since they broke up. So he finally gets the big win there over Big AJ. And then before the show cuts away, Frankie Kazarian wants to talk to Daria Ray, who seems to be kind of an equal to Santino, but he wants to talk to her about some stuff to end the show. So the no holds barred match is the best match on the show, without a doubt. A lot of kind of squash matches, and Nick Nemeth and BDE wasn't all that bad either, but the main event match definitely brought some pretty good physicality. Obviously had a good story behind it, and all that good stuff. So that would be best match for Impact for me. We go to SmackDown. We get a Saturday night's main event recap, of course. Cody Rhodes comes out to get things going. The fans are obviously super excited to see him. We are in Saudi Arabia, obviously, a night before the Royal Rumble. He says, like I just said, he said it's a night before the Royal Rumble. He doesn't think Drew McIntyre has gotten the point of being champion yet. It would make all of the sense in the world for Cody Rhodes to win the world title for a third time, or the Royal Rumble for a third time, and challenge McIntyre. Maybe it won't even be McIntyre by then, though, as Sami Zayn might win it tomorrow night. Or maybe he'll challenge CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title. He's going into the field as a two-time winner, and that puts him in a unique spot. He then Randy Orton then comes out to interrupt him, and obviously they sing his song, hype him up pretty big. Orton sucks up to the crowd before saying that he and Cody Rhodes are brothers. The thing to remember, though, is there is nothing more dangerous than a viper looking for World Championship number 15. Orton will throw anyone over the top rope, including Cody, if he needs to. Jey Uso then comes out. Uso is ready to run it back, win the Rumble again, and go on to WrestleMania and get his World Heavyweight Championship back. Sami Zayn then comes out. Obviously gets a big pop from the Saudi Arabia crowd, as he always does. He talks to the fans in Arabic a little bit. He says he is ready to win the WWE Championship tomorrow night. He has never lost a match in Saudi Arabia, and that's going to continue as he beats Drew McIntyre for the first time. He's never beaten Drew McIntyre. He's 0-11 against him. This brings out the vision. Paul Heyman says he sees talent in the ring, but no vision whatsoever. It will not be any of their nights tomorrow night. It will be their night, the Vision's night, and it will be specifically Braun Breaker's night. Heyman tells the people to shut up and realize he tells people to shut up, but he says it in Spanish and realizes that doesn't make any sense. And he says tomorrow will be Braun Breaker's night, like I said. Orton tells the Vision to stop listening to Heyman and get in this ring for a fight. Nick Aldis then pops up, makes an 8-man tag, and makes it the main event for SmackDown tonight. We then go to Carmelo Hayes. His U.S. Open Challenge tonight is answered by Rey Fenix. They have a banger, and Carmelo wins following the nothing but net. We then go to the Miz, and he runs an Ilya Dragunov in the back. Dragunov blames Miz for his loss last week and says tonight Miz will pay. We then see that Brock Lesnar was on the Pat McAfee show earlier in the week. He called in and said he would be part of the Royal Rumble match. We go to R-Truth and Nick Aldis. They continue to do the ball joke that R-Truth's been doing for months. Damian Priest comes in to draw his number for the Royal Rumble. He reacts in a way where it seems like his number is an earlier one. He kind of shows it to Truth. Truth apologizes for whatever number he drew. But Priest says it's not the worst thing. It means he has more time to throw more people out of the Royal Rumble. So that gets him excited. Drew McIntyre is then in the back. He mocks Sami Zayn for getting in such a dangerous match the night before his big title match. He'll do whatever it takes tomorrow night to make sure Zayn doesn't walk away with the title and he remains champion. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky says they'll be friends after the Rumble, but Julia and Kiana James come in to say that Rhea and Io won't win. Nia and Lashton come in to say that they are going to win the Rumble and the tag team titles as well, and we just kind of get some more arguing from there. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss then come out to the arena. Charlotte says she is going to win the Royal Rumble again for the second year in a row for the third time overall. Alexa obviously says the same, but obviously she says she will win. So they're kind of continuing to kind of build a little bickering between the two of them. They kind of go back and forth a little bit. Alexa Bliss takes Charlotte's hand, saying everything isn't always about Charlotte. They kind of tease like they're going to have a little bit more of an argument, but the Judgment Day girls come out to say that they'll be in the Royal Rumble match and they will win for the Judgment Day. And then Nick Aldis comes out and makes a tag team match between Alexa and Charlotte and whichever two of the Judgment Day girls want to face them. So we have Alexa and Charlotte. They defeat Liv and Roxanne, who are the two members that stepped up. Raquel's obviously on the outside. Stephanie Vaquer comes in, battles with Raquel on the outside. That distracts Roxanne along enough for Alexa to eventually hit the Sister Abigail DDT. So Alexa and Charlotte end up with the victory. We then go to Jordynne Grace. She is ready to win the Royal Rumble, but Jade Cargill runs in to fight with her, and they have a little mini brawl. We then get Axiom defeating Johnny Gargano via pinfall when Gargano steals or takes Axiom's mask off that he wore to the ring. But while gloating, Axiom had obtained the other mask that Gargano had brought to the ring that he had stolen weeks ago. Axiom puts that mask on, which obviously doesn't match the rest of his outfit, but it's from a previous time that Gargano had stolen it. And then Axiom hits the golden ratio and wins the match, and he ends up with both masks, so he finally has his mask back. We then go to Carmelo Hayes. He apologizes to Ilya Dragunov for what happened last week and says he didn't have anything to do with it. Ilya says he doesn't want to hear anything about that. He says after the Royal Rumble is over, they will be fighting again in the future, and promises that. AJ Styles then comes out to cut a promo. Fans are obviously elated to see him. He tries to explain that he has a big match tomorrow, the Royal Rumble. Don't worry about him tomorrow because he's going to beat Gunther and start the One More Time tour going throughout the rest of the year. That means matches with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and as the fans request, again with CM Punk, maybe in another world title match. Gunther then comes out, interrupts, ends up standing on the announce table, says he'll make Styles tap tomorrow, which Styles says Gunther already did. Gunther already tapped. Gunther seems to maybe want to charge into the ring, but Gunther ends up bailing, obviously, as he doesn't want to get physical ahead of their big match. We then get Trick Williams in the back. He talks about how he's made quite the impact since he's been here, and he will win the Royal Rumble tomorrow night. We then go to Tama Tonga. He runs into Shinsuke Nakamura in the back and asks what has happened to Shinsuke. Maybe it's time for Nakamura to start his own retirement tour. Shinsuke then calls Tama a little boy, and they set up a match for next week on SmackDown. We then get Ilya Dragunov. He defeats The Miz via pinfall following the H-bomb. So Ilya takes care of The Miz. Will be in the Royal Rumble match on Saturday. Obviously, he's going to focus on Carmelo after that if he doesn't win the Royal Rumble. Solo Sikoa then starts cutting a promo with the MFTs around him, brags about winning the tag team titles. But they're not just for him, they're for this whole family. Next up, him winning the Royal Rumble is the goal. The Wyatt Six then kind of hack into the video feed and promise to get the lantern back from the MFTs. Solo Sikoa's greed will be his downfall, and just continues to kind of push along that they're not done with each other. We then get the Obafemi package saying he is coming at the Royal Rumble, obviously that I talked about from Monday. And then we get our main event where Cody, Randy, Sammy, and Jay defeat the Vision, but it's by DQ when Drew McIntyre comes out and attacks Sami Zayn. After the match, the beatdown is on, but Jacob Fatu runs in to jump McIntyre. Rhodes takes Fatu out, but gets decked by McIntyre, who eats the haluva kick from Sami Zayn. He goes to pick up the WWE Championship, but Rhodes grabs it at the same time. And as they're kind of posing, or as they're kind of both holding onto the championship, Braun Breaker pops up and spears both of them down. So Braun Breaker stands tall to end the show. As per usual, no surprise here, but Carmelo versus Phoenix in the U.S. title match was the best match of the show. We will go from there to the Royal Rumble. Obviously, the Royal Rumble happened early in the afternoon. Collision happened later in the night, so I'll actually finish with Collision, and we'll go to the Royal Rumble right now. We get an opening video narrated by Triple H and talks about how people can move up the ladder in one night, that the Royal Rumble win could change their entire career. This is a decision entering this match, and it means it can mean everything, and it means going to WrestleMania to face a world champion and get your big moment at WrestleMania. We open with the Women's Royal Rumble. Liv Morgan wins the match, last eliminating Tiffany Stratton. They're battling on the apron. She hits Oblivion in the corner, and Tiffany Stratton obviously falls off of the apron to the floor, so Liv Morgan wins. This Rumble was pretty brutal in the beginning stretches of the match. I think in the back half, maybe even the back quarter of the match, I think it really picked up. Probably because of that, it ended up being my better Rumble of the night, because I think the men's kind of did the opposite of that. I think they started hot and kind of flamed out at the end, but not the best Rumble. Obviously, the women's Rumbles haven't gotten totally ranked highly over the last few years. I think they started out pretty hot with the first one, and it's kind of just been, not bad, but not great kind of ever since. But this had a pretty solid ending, especially the last three. It ended up being Soul, Liv, and Tiffany. And I think the finishing stretch was pretty solid. But yeah, definitely on the tad disappointing side. Obviously, being in Saudi, the crowd participation isn't as much as it would be in a normal U.S. crowd, so that hurt as well. But then we go to the AJ Styles career-threatening match, and he does lose. Gunther defeats him via submission. AJ passes out in the sleeper hold, and AJ Styles must now retire from WWE. Styles obviously gets huge cheers from the Saudi crowd. He teases taking his phenomenal, his P1 gloves off. He gets him pretty much all. I think he actually takes them all the way off, goes to set him on the mat, but he ends up putting them back on and poses for the crowd one more time, which kind of makes me think that this is him saying he might be done in WWE, but he is not quite done wrestling because he puts the gloves back on. And, an AEW trip before his career is over seems pretty reasonable, pretty. I get it. I would, he said this is his last contract or whatever. And I'm going to choose to believe him for the time being, but he's obviously friends with a lot of people in AEW. There's a couple of matches out there that I think he would probably like to have one more time with some buddies of his. So I would totally understand it. And that's one that wouldn't make me too angry. Even though I hope he stays by his word, and that was his last contract, last match, but we'll see. And then we get Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against Sami Zayn. He does so successfully. He wins via pinfall when he hits two Claymores back to back. Kind of does the first one out of nowhere, and then he really lines up the second one and knocks Sami Zayn out for the win. So we then go to earlier today on the kickoff show. Paul Heyman yells at Adam Pearce for seemingly rigging the drawing for Braun Breaker to come out number 2. So obviously he is really pissed about that. To start the men's Royal Rumble, Obafemi is number 1. Braun obviously comes out at number 2 before he can even get in the ring. He is attacked by a masked assailant with a black hoodie, black pants, black mask, and all that stuff. So he is pretty much taken out before the match even starts. He gets in the ring, obviously gets knocked out really quick. So Obafemi's kind of in the ring by himself. I thought Obafemi had a really good showing in the Royal Rumble. His elimination was kind of disappointing, but if it sets up the match that Brock Lesnar eliminates him, so if it sets up a match with him and Brock, I kind of understand it, but it was kind of weak and all that. But the men's Rumble, Roman Reigns wins. He last eliminates Gunther. He hits a spear to kind of set it up. He spears him, and then he throws him over the top rope to get the win. Liv and Roman with both of the betting favorites going in, so having both of them win and that kind of being the case feels kind of lame. And I just think this pay-per-view overall was pretty disappointing. Like I said, the men's Rumble, I thought Obafemi started out really well. He was number 1. He went on a pretty good streak of getting eliminations to kind of start things. We had Powerhouse Hobbs debut as Royce Keys. So that's a big spot. We didn't get any Jericho or anything like that. That was kind of teased over the last few months as a possibility. But I thought there was a good bit of star power towards the end of the Rumble. Maybe in like the last 10, I would say. Brock Lesnar's elimination kind of happens off screen while Jey Uso's come into the ring. That was kind of disappointing. Didn't really seem like they cared about that enough. But there's a point where there's like maybe 6 guys left. I think like LA Knight's in there, Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and maybe the guys that end up being the final 4, Logan Paul, Gunther, Roman Reigns, and Randy Orton. Randy's not going to win. I doubted Cody would win, but maybe somebody like Fatu, at least being there at the end, would have made it a little less anticlimactic. You could have seen Gunther winning, I guess, but once it got down to the final 4 and it was Randy, Gunther, Logan, and Roman, it was like, oh, well, Roman's winning because Randy's not going to win for a third time, and he's not going to get a world championship match at WrestleMania at this point. Gunther just ended AJ Styles' career earlier in the night, and obviously you would think that Gunther would continue with maybe the career killer gimmick or, at least face a legend of some sort and kind of take him out at WrestleMania. And Logan Paul wasn't going to win because he's Logan Paul. So I just felt like the way that they booked it was very anticlimactic, and how that's just not how a Royal Rumble should be. A Royal Rumble should build towards the end. You should have some drama. You should have another guy in there that you think could possibly win it. I'm not saying Gunther was completely out of the realm of possibility, but If he wins, he's not going to go after Drew, I wouldn't think. And I don't think Cody's going to get the belt back before Mania. And I don't think they would run it back with Punk because Punk just beat him at SummerSlam. Maybe you could play the revenge factor, but I didn't think they were going to do that going in. So that was just my thought process. But the men's Rumble really disappointed me. This is my favorite pay-per-view every year. I think, obviously, again, the Saudi crowd kind of took me out of it as well because they're just not the most enthusiastic, not the, they just don't get quite as hype. And I think they've gotten better, but they're still not great. But I thought the men's Royal Rumble was very, very disappointing in the grand scheme of things, and I think they went chalk when they really didn't have to by having Roman Reigns win. So I thought Styles and Gunther was the best match of the show by a long shot. Obviously, like I said, I think the women's Rumble improved towards the end, but it was pretty bad in the beginning. The title match was just kind of whatever. It was going to be kind of whatever after the emotional toll that Styles and Gunther kind of put you through. And then, like I said, the men's Royal Rumble is pretty disappointing in the end. So, but Styles and Gunther was very good. Definitely check that out. A really, really solid match. If obviously, if you're listening to me, you probably watched it already, but watch it again if you so please. But then we'll go to Collision to wrap up the week. Darby Allin defeats Clark Connors via submission with the Scorpion Deathlock. After the match, Darby Allin says he's beaten all of the Death Riders and now he wants to be atop AEW as the world champion. Gabe Kidd comes to jump him from behind and he beats him down. He drops him onto the steps and then he throws the steps on top of him as well. Gabe Kidd says he isn't here on Death Rider business, and he'll follow. He says he'll follow Darby to the ends of the earth to destroy him and put him out for good. We then get video of the Babes of Wrath versus the Sisters of Sin, which will be our main event tonight. We then go to Jet Speed. They're ready to fight some members of the Don Callis family, and they have officially dubbed them and Hangman Page's trios team as Jet Set Rodeo. We then get the Rascals debut where Wentz and Xavier defeat Crew when they hit the hot fire flame on Action Andretti. We then go to Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor. They say they would make a great team together and seem to be heading for the tag team titles. We go to John Moxley. He wants the best competition. He wants to beat Konosuke Takeshita to get his win back from the Continental Classic. We then go to Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm. They squash Gino Medina and Lady Bird Monroe when Orange hits the orange punch on Medina. After the match, Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir run in to beat down both Orange and Tony Storm. Yuta grabs the mic and interviews Orange Cassidy while Marina has Cassidy in a full Nelson. Orange mocks Yuta's hair and gets beaten down some more. Yuta goes for a pair of scissors to cut Orange Cassidy's hair, but Tony comes back in and makes the save, and Storm challenges the two of them to a mixed tag hair versus hair match in 2 weeks at Grand Slam Australia. We then go to Eddie Kingston and Ortiz and the Grizzled Young Veterans. They have a face-to-face in the back. Eddie Kingston challenges them to a parking lot fight. Big Bill and Brian Keith then run in to beat down Kingston and Ortiz that the Grizzled Young Veterans had paid to do so, and the match is agreed upon. We then get video for Mark Briscoe versus Tommaso Ciampa for the TNT Championship that will happen next. Tommaso Ciampa actually defeats Mark Briscoe via pinfall when he blocks the J Driller and hits a German suplex followed by a pump knee, and Tommaso Ciampa is your new TNT champion. After the match, they show respect, and Kyle Fletcher pops up on the stage and applauds the match that was just had, as obviously Kyle Fletcher might be headed towards challenging Tommaso Ciampa. We then get the Don Callis family. They're beating up some security and some jobbers in the backstage area. Josh Alexander talks about how a lot of the members are going to start chasing some gold here come pretty soon that already don't have gold at least. We then get Kazuchika Okada. He defeats Adam Priest to retain his international championship. He wins via pinfall with the Rainmaker. We then cut to the Rascals. They say they should help Eddie Kingston and Ortiz in the parking lot brawl. Kingston comes in, and apparently it is now going to be an 8-man parking lot fight. So the Rascals, Ortiz, and Kingston versus the Grizzled Young Veterans and Big Bill and Brian Keith. Obviously, they added Big Bill and Brian Keith in there to take the pinfall. I'm assuming that's the only reason I could see them being involved whatsoever. We then look at the world title situation, just kind of everything happening with MJF, Andrade, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page, just kind of laying out all the stuff that's going on with that. We go back to Tommaso Ciampa. He is happy to be here, happy to be TNT champion, and respects Mark Briscoe in the match that they just had. Now he is ready to do something special and be the best TNT champion uh, of all time going forward. And then in the main event, the Babes of Wrath defeat the Sisters of Sin when Harley hits the page turner on Blue Sky, or Sky Blue, I mean, Sky Blue. And then after the match, they continue to brawl. Tekla and Chris Statlander come out to get involved. And then Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford run in and they leave all of the champions laying to end the show. Absolutely best match. Again, maybe can contend with Swerve and Andrade from Dynamite, but Tommaso and Mark Briscoe was absolutely match of the show for Collision. So, hell of a week for wrestling. Obviously, a pretty disappointing Royal Rumble in the grand scheme of things. Other people may not have that opinion, but that's just how I felt coming out of it. I don't feel too pumped going into the WrestleMania season. They're really going to have to do some hella storytelling and really put on a great WrestleMania to kind of make up for the fact that they had kind of a crappy Royal Rumble, in my opinion. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but I don't have too much faith that they'll get it on the right track. I just don't see the card kind of laying out in a way where I think it'll be a great show or anything like that. It won't be a bad show per se because they've got talented people, but any of the matches that I see kind of coming out of this Royal Rumble don't exactly just blow me away. Like Roman and Punk is fine, but it's nothing special or anything like that. I don't have to see that happen or anything like that. But I have faith that they can do it, but they're going to have to do a lot. And like I said, to do some really good storytelling and some really good hype for this Mania, because last year's wasn't very good. So I don't think they can afford to have to kind of dud Manias in a row. So they really need to kick it into gear going forward. And like I said, it may be a Saudi thing. Just there's no way that you can have, but that even scares me more for next year when they have WrestleMania there. So they need to, it's kind of put up or shut up time, or Triple H is going to really have to really look at himself in the mirror. So hopefully they get it back on track. We'll see. But at least, AEW had a pretty solid week, and obviously have a couple of big shows coming up pretty soon. So thank you for joining me as always, and we will see you next time as we continue down the road to WrestleMania.